Ashe. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Jeampierre, and you're listening to Bangles and Headdresses, a conversation rooted in matriarchal ancestral traditions and reflecting on how we return to the wisdom of our roots to navigate today's world. And today we're joined by Patrick Duer. Patrick is an artist, musician, and author. Most recently, he published his memoir, Concrete Dreamland, Coming of Age in Underground New York, a memoir detailing his upbringing in Brooklyn, New York, throughout the 70s and 80s. And I am so excited that he is joining us today. Welcome to Bangles and Headdresses, Patrick.
Ashe, thank you. I'm honored. Wait, what did you say? Returning to our roots to?
Returning to our matriarchal ancestral roots. And having them navigate us through new world challenges.
Oh, I love it.
Right? So that's what we're doing. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so I'm so excited that you're here with us because, you know, you are an artist, a self-taught artist that has really transformed the aesthetic. You are from Brooklyn, you know, from Bed-Stuy, which is to me the heart of Brooklyn. You're an author. And you've done so many things where, you know, for me, when people have walked through fire, the art explodes through their bodies. And I kind of feel like you are that to us. So let's just jump in. I mean, one of the questions that I ask all our guests is memories that you have from your childhood. Like if you can think back to how matriarchy really sort of shaped your journey, and you can share that with us. Like who shaped you in terms of how you manifest it today?
I mean, my culture shaped me. My community shaped me. My family shaped me. Artists shaped me. You know, writers and poets and musicians. But I think. The feminine, the divine feminine wisdom, love is the sustaining feature. You know, if I have to look back through my life, my greatest teachers, my greatest supporters, without a doubt, were the women in my community, the women in my family, my partners. Unfortunately, I don't have a sister, which is something I really wish I had. We had a male-dominated family, but that did not stop my mom from being the queen, the matriarch, the leader, the teacher, the supporter, the progressive one, you know? But yeah, no, it's always women. And you know, before I even knew what the term matriarch meant, it was understood in the community. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
we didn't stand on the corner and go, yo, we live in the matriarch, you know, but you know that it's the women that are like the backbone of this community, you know, that are raising the kids, that are going out to work every day, that are like keeping order and really the ruling forces too, you know?
Yeah.
We're the hard hand, but always with, you know, it's like the fist covered in feathers, you know?
Ooh, that's beautiful. I don't know if I've heard that before.
I think I just made it up.
That's good. That's an epigram. So, you know, when we think about our matriarchal lineage, we think about it differently. And I think it's because we are people who came from struggle, right? We're the descendants of struggle. And so if you think back, and your book really documents that struggle and that journey really well, when we think about our own personal stories, and then we stop for a second and we think about, what was it like for my mother? And what was it like for my grandmother? Because that's a whole different set of challenges that sort of birthed our ability to be here talking to each other today. And so when we talk about matriarchal ancestry, you know, that's why I always ask the question, as you're navigating your way through all the challenges that you describe in that book, like where were those moments where you stopped, didn't walk in a door, didn't do a thing because you could hear your mama, right? Like, you want to share some of that with us?
Oh my God, it's the look. My mom has this look that she doesn't have to say a word. You know what I mean? And you know, like, oh, I better be on my best behavior. Like I better be in my very best behavior, or I've done something wrong. it's such a powerful look that conveys such strength. And like, my mom never cursed, never, very rarely raised a voice or cursed when we were growing up. She didn't have to. It was that look. It was the quiet. If she got quiet, if she spoke quietly,
yes.
Oh my God, like
it was all over.
It was all over for you. So that's that quiet power, just her presence, so strong,
My brothers cursed a lot and I didn't, and I felt it was unfair that I
didn't
couldn't
get to curse.
Well, and then so when I started, my mom said, she said, profanity is the language of the powerless. And I said, I'm having a powerless moment. And that's how I leaned into it. And that was probably not a good thing because I do that a lot.
You curse a lot?
Yeah, it's
Really?
terrible. And every day I start with like, today's the day I'm not going to do it. And then I'm like, shit. And then I'm like, it's all over. It's all over. It just sort of captures the moment. I mean, it's, but yeah, it's language of the powerless. I'm like, well, so you're going through this and it's the 70s, it's the 80s. You're navigating your way through the city, New York City, as a Black man during a time when everything is happening in New York City. It is exploding in all kinds of ways, good and bad.
That's right.
How does that shape you, and how do those lessons that you got from home, from your maternal ancestors, how do they influence or shape you as an artist?
So, I mean, the city, growing up in the city, like you said, during that time, informs me in every way. Like it's my upbringing, right? The people that I ran into, the lessons that I learned on the street, the gutter poets, the brilliant brothers and sisters that I ran into that had no degrees from college.
That's right.
But were dropping such incredible wisdom and knowledge. And then those survivors, like you said, those folks that, were coming up like me in a city that didn't favor them, from disenfranchised communities, underserved communities, financially disadvantaged communities, often with histories of trauma. And yet they were still like creating movements that like have influenced the world to this day. Like so much creativity came out of that period. And like when you're in it, you don't realize it.
Right.
Like it's just the norm. You don't realize, we're on the cusp of like a cultural movement that is going to change the world.
So do you see yourself in those places you travel to? Because I feel like when I was in Berlin, I was like, this graffiti, this is us. I go to Amsterdam, like, that's us.
It bugs me out.
Right? It's
right?
Like literally, we're talking about a time period that you and I both came up in.
Right.
And we're in the middle of it. We're like, our friends are graffiti writers, people are breakdancing, like literally every block may not be getting its garbage picked up, right? Because that was happening.
That's right.
They had disinvested in our communities, but like culture and art was exploding.
And it was looked down on as lowbrow, right? Like this is just some Black, brown people vandalizing or making loud music or, talking with slang. And all of those things now, like you said, I spent a lot of time in France recently. And the culture it's become their culture. They've done what they do,
Yes.
They've taken it, they've given very little credit to the originators, and they've made it their own, which in a way is beautiful, but also it bugs me out to see graffiti in France, to hear hip hop in France, to hear our words that, we were talking earlier about Caribbean Spanish,
right?
How we flip words, how we pronounce words, how we use, a word that might mean something literally, but we use it a different way.
Yes, that's
so
the
clever.
Afro-Indigenous tradition to do that.
Yeah. And we've taught the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And influenced the world. And it came out of struggle and oppression and trauma and tremendous creativity and brilliance,
Yeah, and I see it happening in Korea and China, literally all over the world. Everyone is and acting and talking like they're the originators, and getting really well paid. When our people, like many of them, passed away without any kind of resources, without any kind of health care. It's always been the story that everything gets appropriated and colonized.
Yeah.
So how do you protect your work? Because you have this amazing art that you do that you do these collages and you create these visions that are sacred, where you're bringing in sort of the African traditions and images, and you're bringing, and then also turning them into something deeply urban that we identify with because we were born and raised here. Like, what was that process like? And how do you get to, how did you get there? Like, how did you even discover that you had this in you? Because it's not little, it's massive, it's transforming. Like, so did you open a book one day? Did you walk by something? What did you do? How did you get there?
I think it came naturally, and I know that sounds like cliche, but I've always had a compulsion to express myself, to create what by any means necessary. Like, so if I'm only given a pad and a pen, I'm going to draw something or write something. If I'm only given scraps, I'm going to try to create a collage with it. If I'm only given a stick, I'm going to hit a beat with it. I'm going to play a beat with it. Like, something is going to come out. It's spirit. And, another thing that, going back to the matriarchy, is that this idea of intuition and inspiration that comes so clearly through the feminine, and that often is looked down on society as too emotional or like too witchy, too spiritual. I've always leaned into that. So I have tried my best through different practices to open myself up to be a vehicle of inspiration and intuition. So if a thought comes to me, it ain't my thought. It comes from somewhere else. I'm just following directions, So this idea of creating images that are set in an urban setting, that's my setting, that's your setting, but elevating the images, elevating the people in those settings to be divine beings, because I've always saw us as divine. Even the lowest, so-called lowest of us as like pieces of God. We don't see that often. And then, my father's Irish Catholic. He used to take me to church, and I loved church. I loved the majesty of it, the ritual of it, the incense, the art. But I never saw people of color on the walls. And even as a little kid, I was like, something's missing. Like, how can I be from a community of Black and brown people that are going to church with me and nobody on the walls looks like us? And so I always kind of felt like we're being cheated out of our own divinity. And so it became sort of a mission of mine to, like, any image I create, I want to make it elevated. Like, we should connect to our divinity, even in the so-called lower settings, the urban settings, and it's been copied a lot. And what they say, imitation is the highest form of flattery. I don't mind if people take things that have come to me through inspiration. I just mind when it gets watered down, when they lose if I put a halo on someone, it's because I want to call attention to their divinity. If you put a halo on someone because it's just like the thing to do, then you've lost what it's about, the significance of it. That part bothers me. Just like when our culture gets co-opted, whitewashed, watered down, it bothers me because it's like the essence of it, where it came from, is now commercialized. Now it's just used as another way to make money. Like you were talking about, I heard this K-pop thing, K-pop Demon Hunters, right? It's like the biggest thing ever. And I was curious about it, so I listened to the soundtrack. That shit ain't nothing, excuse my language, that ain't nothing but hip hop.
It is.
And Black pop music.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the biggest thing selling in the world. And it's our stuff. But now it's kind of watery. And
everything from the music to the riffs to the clothes
the
to
style, the swag,
all of it is Black culture. All of it
Black
is Black
and brown culture. Because hip hop is it came from us.
Yeah, it did. It did. And there's a long history, I think, that Blacks and Puerto Ricans have that goes way back. It was like, I always say, these are the folks who came with a cup of sugar. These are the folks who took care of us. Like, we have children named like, Shalonda Gonzalez.
That's right.
Like that's
right.
That's how people, and it's just, my mom used to tell me when I was little, she says, don't forget that the ship stopped in the Caribbean on the way up. And that regardless of what we look like, these are our people everywhere. And it was a way of teaching me about the African diaspora and how my people look like a lot of different things, and they're everywhere. So, but I feel like with our community, that's been a connection, a very special and different connection than with other folks.
Sure.
That has contributed also to the creation of culture.
Absolutely.
And hip hop is one of them, one of those big ones.
Just one of them.
Yeah. So I like you talk about this art, like, I added a halo. You did more than that. Like because the work that you're talking about is transformational. And a culture that appropriates our essence is transactional. It's capitalism. It's basically saying, how can I take this idea and make money from it?
Yeah.
Whereas when you start doing it, I feel, when I look at it, it feels very personal. It feels deeply spiritual. It feels like it's coming from a place deep inside of you that is then blowing up on the canvas and then bringing us into that conversation. It feels very different. So I think that no matter how folks try to appropriate it, they will never be able to reach that spiritual essence that you put on that canvas, right? Because it's different. And then you're a musician.
Yeah.
So and that's, you don't always see folks that can create art that way and then can also create music. So tell me a little bit about that, like share with our viewers what that, I grew up with music. Like there was music every single day of my life growing up.
Yeah.
So again, that was my mama dancing.
Yeah.
So tell me about that and that connection to your family.
Oh my God. So music, well, also a community, because we come from, like you were saying, you go out the house, Eddie Palmieri's playing.
Yes.
Ismael Rivera's playing.
Yes.
Like that's going to be a given.
And thank you for mentioning Ismael Rivera. Thank you, because
that's my dude.
Oh my God. Es el sonero mayor.
Oh,
yes.
My dude.
Yes.
And he doesn't get a lot of mention. You kind of have to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up in Bushwick, and then we moved to Bed-Stuy, and Bushwick at that time was I think it was the largest population of Puerto Ricans outside of Puerto Rico were concentrated in Bushwick this was late 60s, mid to late 60s. And so my inspiration to play drums was waking up, like you said, there was a Julio's Bodega across the street, and those cats would go out when it was warm, congas, cowbell, bongos,
yes,
every night. And so that was my serenade to go to sleep. And then Santana was big.
Yeah.
Tito Puente was at his height. Like that music was just resonating, and it's drum based.
Yes, the Fania All-Stars.
Fania All-Stars were at their heights.
Yeah.
So that was the soundtrack of my early life. And it's, like I said, it's mostly drum based. So I was always interested in playing the drums. Like it was like and then, like you said, the spiritual thing. All instruments are spiritual or are a way to connect to a higher power, but none like the drum.
Nothing
and the
like
voice.
The drum. Yeah.
The drum and the voice, And so drums is what I gravitated to, and it's a spiritual practice, just like making art to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they go together. Like I don't differentiate them. Like I can be painting, and I always paint with music. I always pray before I paint. I always burn incense when I'm painting. It's a divine act. It's a divine ritual. But I might be painting, and at some point I'll be like, I gotta play the drums. Like I gotta stop right now, put the brush down, and play for a little while. Maybe it's the spirit's calling for it. I don't know, but I'll just be moved to play for a little while. And then it opens up another channel of creativity. Like I might be stuck on the painting, and I'll just go play the drums, and I come back and I'm like, oh, that block is open now. I needed to drum it away. So they go together,
Yeah, you needed to drum it away.
I needed to drum it away.
Yeah.
Or drum it into me,
right. Yeah. I mean, they even played the piano like percussion. Right?
It's totally
even
percussion.
The piano
it's clave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
absolutely
deep. Yeah. I grew up with that. That was the soundtrack too. That's why when we see our neighborhoods where we're being displaced and they're saying that we're making too much noise on a Saturday afternoon, and we woke up to music,
That's where you clean your house to
That's
on
how you
Sunday
clean
morning.
yes.
You know, my mom played gospel.
Yes.
And Motown.
Yes.
My dad played my dad was a musicologist. He listened to everything.
Yes.
So he gave me a great teaching in jazz. He started with jazz and doo-wop, the big doo-wop guy, because he was from Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
He's a white guy from Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
And doo-wops was, that was it. They're on the corner singing. And then my mom listened to gospel and Aretha Franklin. And so Sunday morning, the music's playing, cleaning the house.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And then now you're an author.
Yeah.
And so which is beautiful because I think that there's in our communities, the way that you were describing the brilliance that exists and how it's often looked over and not seen and how much work it takes for us to be able to get to those places as opposed to other folks. I think that's real. That's a real part of our history. So was that hard birthing that story, going back in time and having to revisit those ideas and putting them on the page? What was that like?
Well, sometimes.
Because I read that, so.
Yeah, sometimes it was really hard. Really heartbreaking. And there were so many moments where I cried writing. Just bringing myself back to the moment and feeling the emotions of those traumatic moments, or when I was at my lowest, and remembering what that felt like in my soul. It was very hard, and at the same time it was really cathartic. It was like a purge. It was important that it came out, and it was also like an homage to those that have been so important in my life and influenced me in so many ways. I felt like there were stories that needed to be told about those unsung heroes, those unconventional heroes that have been so important in my life, like we were saying earlier, that were overlooked. So much brilliance,
What has your mom said about the book?
My mom, so the book is super vulnerable and it's cringy at points, and there are parts where I feel like I just let it all out. There was no editing. And my mom was the one person that I was like, I don't know if I could let her read this. And I didn't say anything negative about her in the book. It's just that I think it exposed a lot of a side of me that I never let her see before. And so my mom read the book and she's like, you're a really good writer. And also you lie a lot. So she was in denial about a lot of it, She's like, you're a really good liar. But, we also, I don't know if your mom was this way. My mom, I'll keep it on my mom. She's gotten better with this, more demonstrative as she's gotten older. But she was always kind of like, okay, that's cool. Keep it moving. She's not going to give too much praise.
Yeah, my mom was like that too.
Right? We don't get that much coddling.
Yeah, no coddling.
Very little.
Not from my grandmother. I got coddling from my grandmother.
But you see, grandma's different. That's a different story. But yeah, mom's is not really giving us that. So if she says a little something, I know it means actually quite a lot,
I think that was a way that I think they try to protect us.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what they were trying to do.
For sure.
The world they knew was a scary place, and their babies were out there in the world. And they needed to be tough.
Yeah.
So they didn't infantilize us, and they didn't want us to be fragile. So I think that's what that was, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's why I said I think she's gotten better with it as I've gotten older, because she realizes she doesn't have to protect me as much. But as a child, no, very little of that. And also culturally, I think they probably didn't get it from their parents either, because for that same reason, since we landed on these shores, we've had to protect our children, because knowing that they're going to face hardship, and have to be tough.
And that we could lose them and never see them again. I think that that's part of the historical trauma, that our bodies almost remember that. And you think about our generation and then our parents, and we go to our grandparents, and we're not that far from enslavement.
Mm-mm.
We're not that far in terms of years.
No.
So, I think they had to be tough. I remember when my mom started hugging me, I was like,
same way, same
Mom
thing.
just hugged me.
What?
What's wrong? What's up?
Exactly. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was when you were an adult, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I became a very touchy-feely mom, hugging my kid a lot.
Me
How are
too.
you with your son?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up like, I maul him, you know, partially because I just love him so much. And also now I have a young daughter but partially also to counteract that, like, because, you know, I also got beatings a lot. And I got whipped like with an extension cord, which by the time I was 15, I had read enough and had enough understanding to realize like, this is just backlash, literally backlash from slavery days.
Wow.
You know? And this is what we've learned as our culture, the way to discipline our kids. And I remember, you know, I went to school with white kids and they never got beat because it wasn't in their culture. We were taught that and we carried that through our culture. And so when I had my son, I was like, I will never beat him. I'm breaking that cycle, you know?
I felt like that too. With me, it was the belt.
You got the belt.
And I got the belt and went to school with whip marks. And with my son, I remember I hit his hand once. Like I went, and he was like, we could have talked about this, Mom. You didn't have to resort to violence. And I was like, oh.
Wait, how old was he?
Like about 6.
And he could talk like that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And he's like, you didn't have to resort to violence. I was like, you don't even know what it's like to run when somebody's coming after you with a belt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very different.
Very different.
Very different. So, wow.
And your son turned out beautiful. My son turned out beautiful.
Yes.
Like it's not necessary to, what's that, spare the rod and spoil the child. I think that's tired. Like we don't need that.
Yeah.
We discipline though. I'm sure you discipline.
No, yeah, I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah. So enough said.
I'm a Capricorn. So but they need discipline in order to get through this world.
And they look for it. They need it from you.
Yeah.
They need
in
boundaries.
Order to thrive.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. You're wearing, so you know, this is called Bangles and Headdresses, and you're wearing bangles.
I never take them off.
And so I wanted you to share what those represent to you, because, you know, I wear different ones, different days, but I always have them. And, you know, we have a long history of adornment.
Yes.
Like that's where our people are. Like we didn't just wake up one day and said, we're going to get tattoos. We're going to put on earrings. Like literally our people have always been people who adorn.
That's right.
And so I wanted you to share what your bangles represent.
So they, much like you, they came to me through family. They, so in the 70s, these were really big.
Yes.
Like you remember like Black Power.
Yes.
The bangles were really big and men and women wore them. Mm-hmm. And my uncles, who were my absolute heroes, were just amazing men, and in different circumstances could have been they could have been anything. Rock stars, politicians, teachers, they could have been anything, but they fell to the drug epidemics. And as they died, when my first uncle Charles died, he made sure that the bangles that he wore went to me. And then it became sort of a tradition that unfortunately as they died and they all wore them, I ended up inheriting them. And so they are an homage to my fallen uncles and also to that time period. Sometimes now in the neighborhood, like an older head will see them and they'll be like, "Child, you taking me back." You know, I used to have those. And I feel like, I don't know how you feel when you wear yours. I feel power from them, right?
Connected.
I take them off when I go through the TSA in the airport. And from the moment that they offer me, I feel like my talisman is missing. They go with me everywhere.
It's like walking out into the street without earrings. You're not dressed.
Not for you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Your earring collection must be
it's massive. It's massive. I have to it is.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen you with the same earrings.
No, it is massive. Funny that you noticed that. Yeah. That's my thing. Especially street jewelry.
Oh yeah.
That's my fave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you, and this is a question I ask everyone, if you could go back in time and speak to one of your maternal ancestors and ask them a question or share something with them, what would that be? What would the question be? Or who would you be wanting to get in touch with and share something with? What does that look like for you?
I never got a chance to speak to any of my grandparents, either on my dad's side, my Irish side, or my mom's side, my African American side. So I've always felt that missing. I've always envied people that had their grandmom in their life, particularly a grandma, grandfather too, but grandma, going back to the matriarchy, like the grandmom. I, I, I have so many questions. The main one I think would be, are you proud of me?
Mm.
Like that's so important to me.
Oh man, I feel that. Yes.
Do you feel it? Like,
Yeah.
of course, I would want to know like what their life was like, but like, are you proud of me? It is probably the biggest question that I would want, because that would mean the world to me if my grandparents were proud of me.
That question for me, people when they've talked to me about how I grew up, what I went through, and how I managed to get through, higher education. I think the thing that always drove me was I wanted to make my mother proud. I wanted to make my mom happy. It was so important. And so when she passed, I had to figure out now what do I do?
Oh.
Now what do I do? Because who am I supposed to be making happy?
Oh.
I realized how much I was driven by wanting to make my mom smile and make her happy because she had gone through so much. And I wanted her to know, look, Mom, see, you did this.
Yeah.
You made this happen.
Yeah.
She was someone who really had me immersed in culture. My mom could dance, and my mom was beautiful, and she had, anklets and a bracelet around her waist, and she spun around, and she, like in the 70s, had you seen my mom, you would have been like, what? So that cultural aspect I felt was something maternal that came through the maternal line. And so I see it. I see it in how you dress. I see it in how you communicate. I see it in your art. We kind of like absorb that, right?
Yeah,
as we're
absolutely.
growing up. How do you pass that on to your children? My big concern is that I feel like I've failed to pass on the cultural gifts that my mom gave me in the same way that they were passed on to me. How do you feel? How are you doing that with your grandchild? Like, how do you do that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been different if you had a daughter?
So I was asked that today. I was asked that very question today. And yes, I think it would have been different. I was talking to, our podcast producer today, and I was saying how whenever, because she could be my daughter, and a lot of the women that I work with could be my daughters. And when I watch the courage and the independence that navigates them through the world, I am blown away and so proud. Like I feel like if I had a daughter, that's what I would want her to be.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with AOC. I was like, you're the daughter I never had.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like the daughter I never had.
Oh my
like
God,
if I could dream a daughter into existence, like political, like walking up in a raspberry berry colored suit to Congress. I'm like,
dope.
and the red lipstick. I'm like, what? I'm all about that. And brilliant, right? Being led by brilliance. I think it would be different. I think that, I adore my son. I think it's different. I think when you have a daughter, I was very close to my mom, and, I have 5 brothers, and, but my mom and I had a very spiritual connection. And I also think sometimes we place importance on those things that can be passed on more than men do. So, for example, her pots and pans, the things she served her food in, like I have those. And so every time I serve food in something that she served food in, it makes me remember when my mom served food in that. So little things like that may not seem significant to other people feel to me like that's that maternal line, that matriarchal line, and that connection. So thank you for that question. Because you flipped it on me.
I did flip it on you. No, I was just really curious.
It's a good question.
Super curious.
It's a good question. But you have a daughter now.
I do, and I adore her, and I've always wanted, because like I said, I grew up with boys.
Yeah.
Like I had uncles and brothers, and my dad. My mom was really the only, my cousins were all male. We were like a little gang, And then I had a son who who's wearing, he's wearing white for the next year.
I see that. Yes.
And he comes and blesses my house. He's like, he's a real Babalawa. And so I think what we do for our children, what I've done for my son, is I never forced him on any path. I just modeled things and made things available for him. So he would see me meditate. He gravitated toward meditation. He would see my spiritual books, gravitated toward spiritual. But I never like, you got to read this. He would just see me.
Yeah.
And then naturally be gravitated. And then some things are totally his own thing. But he's grown up with a strong sense of culture, also because of his mom, who we were never really together, but she has her own sense of culture. It's different than mine. She's more of the sorority, black colleges kind of, black church kind of person.
Yeah.
But that's important. But my son, like, he comes to my house and he's like, you see those rings? Those are going to be mine. Those are my power rings. The bangles are already his. He knows that. And then, my home is my home is a temple. It's a sanctuary. It's a sacred ground.
Yeah.
So every piece of art I have in the house, every furniture, to me is more than just a piece of furniture. It's like sanctified, And so there's a sense of reverence he feels when he comes in. We did a cleaning. I was thinking about you. Your name came up like 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah. Because he was saying, he asked if you had been there yet.
Yeah.
He's like, she didn't bless the place yet. I was like, it's coming. So he did a full blessing.
Thank God.
And then my daughter.
That's how you open the year.
Yeah. And so I'm needing you to come through at some point.
Yeah.
Please. And my daughter's beautiful. My wife is also grounded in culture. She's French Caribbean. So she's teaching our baby Creole.
Yes.
Not French, Creole.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
I as I'm listening to you, I can't, I started to think, wait a minute, because I think I was being hard on myself by saying I didn't pass on culture to my son. And then when you were talking, I was like, oh my God, I think I did.
Of course you did.
I think my mom definitely did. I mean, this is a kid who grew up listening to patakis, which are the oral histories going back 1,000 years in Yoruba. This is a kid who wears his alekes, right? Huh. This is a kid who, has a legua at the opening of his door in his apartment. And so, yeah.
Of course.
And so as you're talking about it, I'm like, wait a minute, I did so bad. I think I'm just kind of hard on myself. I was like, I think that I was so focused on making sure that he had a great education and that I was just so focused on everything. But my mother was very open and light. And that kind of energy, I felt like I didn't have that I was just like really focused. And my mom was just singing and dancing and she was just joy. She walked into a room and the whole place lit up and the mayor of any block she would show up on, she was J-Lo before there was a J-Lo, my mom, so, and I was very different, but loved how she was. Like I watched in awe about how my mom was and how confident she was. And that confidence, I think that confidence rubbed off,
Did your mom disappoint you in any way? Is there any moments where you could say I was disappointed?
I was angry at my mom for a long time. My mom stayed in a very harmful relationship that had a negative impact on me. And I was unforgiving. And then I think that when I had my son, when I had my child, I realized that the world couldn't be black and white. It had to be gray because I wanted it to be gray for him.
Yes.
I didn't want the world to be so defined that he wouldn't have the room to make mistakes.
Yes.
And so it was sort of this epiphany that I had after I had him because I wanted a different world for him.
Yes.
And I realized that I had been very black and white, very dogmatic, and that I didn't see my mom's humanity, that I didn't think about what she had gone through to make the decisions that she made through, that I had not lived what she had lived, that I had never been forced to make the kinds of decisions that she had to make at an early age, and that I didn't have any right to judge her.
Yes.
That I really needed to forgive and love her. and and then I think at that moment our relationship changed, and it was my becoming a mother that changed that relationship, because up until then I was like just
Yeah, yeah,
horrified,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And judgy.
Yeah.
And then I think mothering my child opened up my heart and changed me, and I saw my mom not so much as my mother but as a woman, and I think that's what I not been asked that question, uh, but yeah, that happened. Yeah,
I feel
yeah, I was in my
you.
20s.
I feel you. I
Yeah,
think I think it can be done by people who never have kids, but I think when you have your child, you're able to see your parents in a different way and forgive them, because you really recognize they're just people trying. They tried their best.
yeah,
They had faults, they had many things positive, but you're able to literally be like, "Oh, they were doing their best."
they were.
And they were coming with their own baggage, you know? And when you have your own kid, you're able to forgive yourself, because you're like, look, I'm just trying my best with this kid. And then you realize, oh, my mom was really just trying her best, you know? And I grew up, talk about matriarchy. I was thinking about this, we could rank on each other, but
Yes.
no moms.
No, ever, never.
You never say nothing negative
We did
about
the dozens.
We did the dozens, but moms was out. Like, we would make the rules. We'd be like, no
Right,
moms, right?
right.
We keep moms out because that's a fight.
Yeah, that was a fight.
Because she's elevated. Like, you don't say anything negative about your mom. You could talk dirt about your dad all day long, but moms is moms. And so that, if nothing else, that shows how important she was in the community. She's beyond reproach. Like, you can't say nothing negative about mom. And it wasn't until like I had my kid that I was also able to be objective and be like, nah, she had a lot of stuff that she could have done better with me. But then I was also to see like she just did the best she could with the where she came from, you know.
And the fact, when you're talking, I'm thinking about how my mom's capacity to embrace joy in the midst of chaos and despair.
Mm.
Like, I got to give it up to her. Like, literally, I could see her embracing joy. And I remember she said to me, smile. I'm like, I don't feel like smiling. Smile. She says, because when you smile, the feelings follow.
Wow.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
scientifically true.
And it's true.
It's scientifically true.
Yeah.
Wow. And she knew that.
Yeah, she says, you never smile, and you have such a beautiful smile. And I was like, yeah, I'm not smiling. I was very serious, right? And she was like, no, the feelings follow right after you smile. And after that was another changer. It was like one piece of wisdom after the other, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's true. It wasn't science that was making her say that.
I know it. Like, that's
Yeah.
just in knowledge, just indigenous.
Yeah.
Was she like educated formally? Western education?
So she didn't have a formal education. She went through high school, but she was really self-educated. So she had a lot of books about philosophy. She was reading all kinds of deep things. Like, my mom was just a really brilliant, self-educated woman, and could talk to just about anybody about anything, and knowledgeably, and surrounded the house with books. Like, she would collect books that people would throw out. She created a library for us out of books that people threw out, and books were really important at home.
Yeah.
How about your home? How
Same.
was that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. She went through high school, but there was always books in the house, and I always saw them reading, which is like, this again, like, you're modeling this. So I had access to books, and it was the same thing. Found books. I think that's how we got roaches, by the way. Just a side note, because when you're bringing in books from the street. And
we did.
Right?
She had those little red cart, that little red cart that we had?
Yeah.
And it would be full of books.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You mean like the little wagon? The red
little wagon.
Yeah,
the little red wagon.
We had that.
Yeah. So I've been watching some of the work that you're doing on your house, that you've been posting, and I've been blown away by what this house is going to look like, and how you have turned a house into art, into a piece of art. Can you share a little bit about what that process has been like?
Oh man, a lot of work and a lot of money, and a dream come true. Really, it's been a dream come true. I've been renting in New York, Brooklyn primarily since I was 17, and I'm 62 now. This house, my mom back to my mom. She bought it from the city when my dad died. She bought this house in Bed-Stuy on ground zero then. This was like 1983 or 4. And the city was giving these houses away because nobody wanted to live there. It was the crack epidemic. It was the ghetto, Bed-Stuy. And I remember when she took the money to buy the house, other people in the family were like, why are you buying in the hood? Like, buy a house in the suburbs, you know, or in a white community. And she was like, no, it's an investment. But she never did anything with it. And it fell into disrepair. It got stolen twice by you know, these real estate people. And it got to the point where the city was about to take it back. And then I asked if I could step in, and then I had a family that I needed to find a home for. So the divine timing lined up, but the house was a shell.
Wow.
And so the last couple of years have been me doing, you know, like we were talking earlier about YouTube tutorials.
Yes.
I've learned so much. And when I hire someone to do work, I'm right there with them, like watching what they do, so I don't have to hire them again. They must be sick of me because, like, if I hire somebody, I'm like, how did you do that? Like,
but you're doing more than repairing things. You're turning things into art. Like, I've seen you take furniture and then just reclaim it and paint it.
Most of the stuff in my house is found.
Yeah,
It's
I've been
found
watching.
furniture. Because we live in an abundant city. Like, people throw out gems. And I have no pride with, like, picking up a table off the street. Just I've learned a lesson about the roaches, though. Like, I'm cleaning, I'm saging, and then I refurbish. And, you know, when you do that, when you paint the wall, that wall is yours now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you find something and breathe life back into it, now it's yours. Like, you have dignity. That's different than just buying something.
You're bringing in Mother Earth, you know, as we're getting to a close, because literally we have always been the people who live within our carbon footprint. We're the ones who reuse, repurpose, and recycle, because nothing like necessity to make you do that, right? But it becomes a cultural thing.
That's right.
So I'm really happy that you're talking about that, because we're living it right now, right?
Absolutely.
We're living in the age of climate change. So, but there's also something about the charm and the beauty of bringing in something that has history and soul in it, right?
Absolutely. But I sage it because I don't know the history.
You have to sage it.
Right.
Totally.
But yes, there's something that I've always been drawn to, things that like you said, have a history, that like this has a resonance. Like, people have used this thing, and it just gives it more like significance and beauty, in my opinion. Also, they don't make things like they used to, you know?
No, that's actually true. It sounds, it doesn't, people think that's not true, but it's true.
No, it's really true. The quality is absolutely different.
Yeah.
And then, and also I have an aesthetic, right? So I love beauty. Like you, I want to be surrounded with beautiful things. We were talking earlier about this particular color that you chose is the exact same color I have in my house.
Purple haze.
Purple haze, the Jimi Hendrix.
Purple haze, yeah.
It's not like a surprise to me that we have the same color, that we love the same color.
Yeah, it's such a quiet, powerful color.
Yeah.
So rich, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I can't be surrounded by white walls. I think I'd snap.
It sucks your soul out.
Yeah,
Right?
That would be crazy. But yeah, I was surprised. I was actually, when you said that your house was painted the same color, I was like, oh, so I'm cool like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm cool like that, because if Patrick uses that color, then it's a thing. It's a whole vibe.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been so much fun. And thank you for taking me on the journey with you, because I think that books don't just pop out. Like art doesn't, it comes out of our DNA. It comes out of our cells. It comes out of all the things that we've gone through, whether up and down, and it transforms, right? I think that art is medicine, and it's the medicine that we need. We especially need it right now. So Patrick, where can people find you, and where can they pick up your book? And are you willing to share with us a little bit about your book, or something that you want to share that's in the book?
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Patrick Doerr, and that has like updates and events and my art. Then I have a website, which is www.godbodyart.com. And then I'm all over the streets. Like, you'll run into me at some point. The book is available in, Well, a lot of libraries around the country and in other countries, I'm learning. Most booksellers, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. So it's Concrete Dreamland, Coming of Age in Underground New York. I just wanted to read the dedication because I think it has, it says so much about our conversation. And to my perfectly imperfect family, my progeny and beloveds, and all those who have blessed my life, to the God bodies, the street corner sages and outcast scholars, the exquisite misfits and righteous rebels, the sinner saints, and all the angels with dirty faces who have been my teachers and guides. To all who have lived with trauma and addiction, one day at a time we do together what I could never do alone. I feel like that sums up our whole talk.
It really does. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Ashe.
so much.
Thank you. So thank you so much for joining us, Ashe.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you for listening to Bangles and Headdresses. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. I know that I did. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and join the conversation on our Instagram and TikTok accounts at Bangles and Headdresses. So, hasta pronto, Ashe.